Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. He is Commander Cocky.
He's got a phone.
And today we're here to talk about episode 9 of season 4 of Lower Decks. This one's called The Inner Fight. It's like the Inner Light, but different.
And yes, Stuart was in LA, so hence the delay. And apologies if I can't speak properly because I had the dentist today and I have different teeth than I had earlier in a way. So apologies in advance. So Stuart,
okay.
So Stuart, this is the big part 1 of the part 2, two-parter, the end of an arc. I've not told anyone about this because we skipped our weekly norms, so I have no concept of what the world thinks. What do you think of this episode, and how do you think of the reveals?
All right. Mike McMahon definitely put his heart into this one, I think. I love that it ties into the TNG episode of Lower Decks.
That is the Lower Decks episode. I forgot it was actually the Lower Decks episode.
Yeah. And just to now go back and watch that one, knowing that they went to school essentially with Mariner and no Mariner, I think is kind of neat. We even got Nick Locarno returning, which was a shock and not hinted at it anyway, but that's okay. But we still don't have the reveal yet of what exactly is going on with the mystery ship. We're getting there. And this one, it was great to see that the crews from the other ships. I believe the Klingon she ran into was from Wage that episode. I think it was one of the guys from what I heard on my first reaction last night. I didn't get that sense necessarily, but anyway. Good conversations, some good fight scenes, and honestly, I think Mariner's... even though they tried to explain why she's acting the way she is, I don't think it actually worked, because she said, if being an ensign was good enough for Cito, then it's good enough for me. It's like, yeah, but she didn't just want to be an ensign and die. She wanted to progress her career. It's one of the reasons she probably did this mission, so that she might get a commendation afterwards. So her logic, I think, is very flawed, and I think that's the point. Everybody's supposed to call her out on it. But yeah, and her whole thing of not wanting to be promoted so that she doesn't have to send her friends to die is interesting. And I think that's why she just wants to stay an ensign, because they get told what to do. They don't have to be put in those situations. So it kind of explains it a little bit, but at the same time, I don't really feel that it does. So, but at least we got a little bit of an answer. And to tie into the Lower Decks TNG episode, I think was really neat. So that's kind of all. Oh, and also the planet that Freeman and them go to. It's funny because the day that this aired, I was actually in Galaxy's Edge, and that was very Star Wars-esque. Like, from the officer she spoke to seemed very Imperial, and then, down on the planet it looked like Batuu, like the one area of Batuu, and I thought that was kind of funny because I didn't see that till after I got home. So it had a Star Wars element to it, even some Star Wars like musical cues and things like that as well. And the bounty hunter thing was kind of fun. And then also tying back to the Corbomite maneuver with Balak, or at least Balak's dummy. Again, I think there was a lot of really good stuff here. It's a very solid episode. I can't wait for part 2 to kind of get a more of a read on this one. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So that's kind of my wrap up. Sorry, I went into a lot there. So how about you? What did you think of this one? And what did you think of the reveal of Nick Locarno?
Yeah, I think I like it.
That's where I am. I like it?
Because, payoffs only work if they're set up. There is zero setup for this. So it feels insanely random. So there's no that all makes sense. None. It's just it's some guy. Now, luckily, we know who the guy is, and therefore the person is cool, but it does not make the setup better. It just shows the lack of planning, lack of setup, lack of intrigue. Doesn't mean next episode won't be amazing, and because the symbol on his chest is the academy thing. There'll be something fun there, right? Of course there will, but it's like you wasted the season of opportunities to set it up. You could have had Locarno in several times, this guy's helped with this thing. It could have been really fun, but obviously, having Tom Paris's doppelganger, and now you can then finally address that, is great. And I actually think he mentioned Locarno with us on an interview once, because as soon as he appeared, I'm like, oh yeah, Mike's always liked that idea of the two, that. I remember. So it didn't feel like a surprise to me as soon as, but really random. just super random. And yeah, certainly it's definitely a part one of part two, right? It's a setup to a payoff. It kind of gives you like Predator vibes a little bit with a planet. It's entirely Star Wars with the Star Wars thing, but the fact that, yeah, like I say, it's a Baylock alien, that's just brilliant, because it's like, it did make sense that the first Frontier, the first Federation would be based on something. Those aliens, cool, like that's great. That's fundamentally amazing. But to have the whole payoff just be, and it was all because we knew. It's like, oh, is that it? Like, it was very underwhelming. I thought the person in the mask was going to be a Locarno or someone that we knew who they'd brought in because they're expert. So just being Billups was like, oh, okay. Like, it felt like a letdown to the moment. I was like, oh. I would have cut those scenes by half if I'd known how medium the payoff was. There's more important stuff we could have seen in that episode. But Lynn was there, of course. Tendi was good. The stop Orions, I'm your queen, in essence, was fun. Loved all the Bird of Prey stuff. The fact they came in and they mounted it and went in, that was all fun. Now you understand the Star Trek 4 in the poster because they've stolen a Bird of Prey. So now every season there's a connection, so there's a connection. The Mariner stuff was interesting, although felt a little bit like Mike Mann thinking, damn it, I might not get a season 6. I've had the story for 5 years, I've been telling the story super slowly. Let's just finish it now so it's finished. I was like, oh, I guess it's an inorganic way of saying it. In a tree on a planet to a random stranger. It's like, I'm just going to vent. It might be very real, but it felt inorganic from a storyteller. Like, let's just pause and do a deep dive of Mariner randomly. Okay? Like, you know what I mean? It was just sort of there. Like, there was lots of chunks of concepts. Nothing was really organically linked. It was just this thing, then this thing, then this thing, then this. Oh, no, Locarno. It's like, oh, okay. Bit strange like that. That said, of course, her being linked to that lady, famous episode, famous theme. I can't imagine her age lines up with that. Because, that was TNG. Like, those are if she's at the academy with her, yes, the academy's 3 years, and she could have been a first year, right? There's a little bit of leeway, but it's just odd also, because like she was an ensign in season 1, or I guess season 4, but then her academy friend is a captain at this point. So did she get captain in so few years, or did there's a weird is Mariner 39? Was Sato young? I don't know, right? Like, because that was a while ago. Like, she wasn't in the academy like 12, 14 years ago. So she'd have to be like late 30s, which isn't necessarily a problem. But then, yeah, it just gave you a very distinct point. And also, there's a famous clip now going on the internet where the lady in the episode says, I had no friends. She says it flat out. Like, as soon as the incident happened, no one would talk to me. I had no friends. And Mariner's saying, we were best friends, I adored her, instantly conflicts with what they've said. Unless, of course, it was before that, or maybe Mariner was delusional and she was someone she knew and she looked up to her as an amazing person, but Sato didn't know who she was, which is weird. So there's a bit of oddness there.
I could see them being friends and then having a falling out, maybe Mariner's fault, since some of the reason she blames herself. And then as a result, she would, of course, say, I had no friends. Because she just kind of disavowed it. I could see that kind of being a thing. I would add to Mariner's guilt. But
she clearly reveres her, and there was no hint of, and then we fell out. There was like, my best friend got sent to die. I'm pissed, not I pissed her off when she said I hate you, and like there'll be more, yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if that lady then comes back, because there's no reason to think she's not, like, twist still alive, right? Like, they could easily play on that, wow, Cardassians, wow, which would be a hell of a bring back, Yeah, like I say, it's just very strange because it's disconnected from the season, disconnected from the show, and TNG linked, which is cool, but also random.
Yeah. It'd be cool, though. I mean, we Nick Locarno shows up. We know that there's a Section 31 Boimler, and there's also Thomas Riker was mentioned as one of the ones that they need to go find. Wouldn't it be cool if this was like the transporter clones working together? Not that Nick Locarno's a transporter clone, but he's similar enough.
The face sharers.
Yeah.
That would actually add to the reveal, in fairness, especially if they bring Thomas Riker back, because that we've talked about at verbatim. Because you can do kind of anything you want with Thomas and Locarno and whatever, because they are all the fun of the voice actor while being entirely different characters.
Yeah, wasn't Thomas Riker taken
Yep.
Captive.
Cardassian prison for as long as they want him to have been.
Cardassian prison, and Sito was killed by Cardassians. Could be a reveal that they've been in prison together and they finally escaped. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's random now, but it'll be payoff next week or in a couple of days. Because of course, this is now a payoff to a TNG storyline. That's what's weird about it. It's not a payoff to a Lower Deck storyline really so much. It's now a payoff to a potentially a combined multi-season, multi-franchise. Because we're all TNG fans first and foremost, right? Like that's the Trek that got Trek back. So linking to that is the core of Trek. Cool, but we'll see how it pays off.
And the mystery ship thing, I mean, one or two people on my live last night said, I told you it looked like the Delta Flyer. It was hinting at the Tom Paris, not Tom Paris. And it's like, okay, maybe, sure. But
hard pass on that. That's nonsensical. You know that face clone I have? He built a ship once. I'm going to base my new ships off his ship. Why? Trekyards said.
Well, no, I don't think that's what happened. I just think that Mike just made it look similar, maybe as a hint. But anyway,
because they're not the same person. That's the joke. But I really hope, and you can't not have, hey, you like Tom Paris? Because also they also said that Mariner knows Tom Paris. They did piloting lessons with him or something. They'd said that in a previous episode, and she knew that Locarno as well personally. Because obviously, if she was friends with Sato at the academy, you should have been friends with him presumably. And Wesley, by that logic, because they were all the same peer group. So she knew Wesley, intimately. No, she knew Wesley lots. And Wesley, you can bring Wesley in. Or how amazing would that be if you bring Sato, Wesley, Will Wheaton, her, and have a TNG Lower Decks cast reunion? Because there would be a thematic, if he only gets 5 seasons as Might and Man, to end, to have your series based on the Lower Decks characters would be certainly cyclical and I was inspired by, and therefore I will be a love letter to, etc.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Nick Locarno and the mystery ship are working with this Klingon bird of prey captain that's now dead.
Very dead.
I love that the guy's face comes out covered in blood. It's my ship. It's like, whoa.
The wonderfully purple blood, yes, that was graphic.
So we still don't know quite what's going on with that connection. I can still see Section 31 Boimler making an appearance because that was an interesting way to end last season. So it almost feels like that could be a comeback at some point. Where'd they get this technology for this ship? What's the purpose of putting everybody on this planet and stealing their ships? Like, there's still a lot of unanswered questions, which this one might be a lot better once we see part 2. It's just one of those things, but they got a lot to answer in one episode. So,
because that's the thing, they answered a few major questions which changed the game, because they said, we bribed the low decks crews, as in of each ship, to lower the shields and weapons. So there was no advanced tech of any kind involved. They bribed each crew to steal the ship, to track to beam it. So it's not an advanced ship. It's just a ship, right? There's nothing special about it. It's just some random design that looks random, that is random, that he built for is random, right? So are they now using the ships? Are the lower decks people of each ship working the team, or is there or is it Locarno? Because you get the sense he's the ringleader. Because if he builds the ship, you'd think he'd be the ringleader. But what's the purpose? I don't even with his thing at the academy, I don't see him being, I hate Starfleet. Because it's not even about Starfleet, right? It's about everybody. Like, there's no, maybe it's all going to be Cardassian linked, to get revenge for Sato. But then you're forcing the A plot of Mariner now with him, even though there's been no, why would that suddenly be the thing? Her existential problem for the last 20 years is now the thing this guy happens to be using to go. Now, maybe they're planning this because, if you're attacking the Cardassian Union, if you have a ship from every race, who's the villain who's attacking us? That's kind of a fun strategy. Make a fleet of random ships. You can't pick up anybody as being the culprit. And maybe he's trying to capture, like you said, Thomas Riker and Locarno, and that and that'd be fun. But all of this just to attack a Cardassian base and grab some hostages is odd.
Yeah, the end game of this plan is still very much in the air, and I just want to see what that is. What is the purpose of all this? So
it's just odd to see no real connective tissue to the future. Like, it's so random that it's going to be so random. I don't like it being that random, you know? Like, it needs to feel satisfying because you've put the pieces together. It was not satisfying. It was, oh.
Yeah. Personally, I have faith in Mike McMahon. He did write this one. I assume he's written part 2 as well. And I have faith in him. He had a plan. He had ideas. He knows his Trek. So hopefully part 2 of this will be fantastic. And we'll just kind of have to wait and see. But
well, that's the thing. Abstractly, it's a good episode, but it's a payoff to a season, and it doesn't work as a payoff to a season. It can be great by itself, but it's like Picard Season 3, right? The last 2 are their own thing, even if it throws away the Dominion plot, which kind of nullifies a lot of the season power. It's almost like its own thing. I kind of hope there'll be a longer episode. This one was 26 minutes, so it was a little bit longer. Like, it wasn't to 21, 22, 23. And we are obviously now in the middle of the action, you know, because we are leaving the planet. The planet plot's done. Finding the alien ships is done. Finding Locarno's done. So we are kind of starting fresh next week, and Mariner's going to be in the heart of the situation. So we're going to go jump straight into the action, obviously. And you'd assume the bird of prey knows exactly where Locarno's base is, knows where the ships are. Like, you've always skipped a lot of the plotting. But anything could happen, right? I couldn't possibly predict where it's going because there's nothing to hint, really. But Baylock was great at Mud's bar.
Yeah.
That was really fun. That was...
He's got a whole lot of internal organs. Stop.
And it was a good play by, the captain. Just took a lot of the screen time, knowing they're not going to trust me. Because, of course, like she goes up to the bouncer and he's like, I do know your Starfleet. Oh, okay, sorry. It's like, yeah, the uniform. It's like, you're not even trying. Because there's a plan, obviously. And the hive of Scone and Villainy. It's like, it's not subtle. No.
Even the communications station is exactly the same as the one from Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
Same doors, same everything. It was great.
Was not subtle.
Yeah, and even the wait times. It's 2 hours to get in. It's 2.5 hours now. Was funny because it's the same at Galaxy's Edge. It's got these wait times, and then the shuttle, waiting for the shuttle, 3 hours for the shuttle, stuff like that. I got a good laugh out of that, considering we were just there. And it was on the same day that this episode aired, which is kind of neat in its own right. But
and the glass rain was fun. That was fun.
Yes, the glass rain was cool. And the other thing that was kind of odd to me was that Mariner and the Klingon went up, and Mariner's like, I'm not going to fight. We've had enough of that. And it's like, well, thank you for making this easy. And then it's like she knows that Tendy's going to jump in. Did they run into them beforehand and arrange that? Because she seems so cool and collected, and then Tendy just... stop. That just seemed like odd timing to me, and not set up at all that they had met up.
She's used to getting stabbed.
That's true.
In the shoulder. So I kind of assumed she was going to get stabbed and then hold the thing and say, look, I know you want to kill me, but don't. I'm
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, there was no plan. Is the vibe. It was just plot and timing.
And also the Klingons' plan of, I have a plan. And then where the bird of prey comes down and they jump off the cliff. That's still a pretty big fall. Like, what if you break a leg? What if you miss and fall off? How did you know the bird of prey was going to be there and not on the other side? It was just you had a plan. All right, cool, but
well, in fairness, he would know Klingon plans more than everyone else. So if the Klingon, the standard Klingon plan would be, we must get close because victory is for close, and he's more like to know. But I appreciate that. Again, this is such a weird episode, but the fact that we got to appreciate, Romulans and Cardassians and not Breen, but Binars, all these aliens together. Now we're in for a full of canon fun next week. Star Trek 4, but every bridge officer is a unique race is going to be fun, right? That's going to be, we want to get our ships back. We want to pilot stolen bird of prey, and that's going to be really fun. Just weird,
Yeah. And I gotta love too at the beginning where they're showing all the ships, and you see the profile of the Romulan ship. How the head of it's kind of more like the shuttle of the Romulan shuttle, more than the Derridex. That was cool. It was great to see that stuff. So,
and also they must have talked to the Picard team because they say, oh, ex-Starfleet officers, Beverly Crusher, because she had to have left by now. She left straight after Nemesis. So, because they wouldn't have written that unless they'd heard about Lower Deck season Picard season 3. So that was kind of fun. Sad because oh, she's already left. But
And 709, of course, mentioned as well, which is cool. So
maybe we'll see them all next week. Maybe that was us hinting that everyone's going to appear of that list. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a strange episode. I enjoyed it, and yet I got to see what part 2 brings to see what my actual enjoyment factor of it will be, you know?
Because it feels like now they should have shown 7 of 9 in the Voyager episode, Beverly Crusher in the Ixacomp episode, like it was linking characters to shows, and then Locarno in some piloting episode, right? Like, show them all as ex-Starfleet. We bump into them, they help the plot, we get to know them, and then at the end it's like, oh, we're going to bump into all the people we've met, and then they're all part of the plan. You know, that feels like there's a setup there. And now they've said that, it's like, well, yeah, Seven could have been in the Voyager. You know, Seven turns up to the Voyager exhibit with a cowl because she's left Starfleet, she doesn't like Starfleet now, or she's just at the edge of leaving Starfleet and she goes there and, you know, there's now obvious things they should have done to help make that work better. Because then you'd feel like, oh, wow, who's it going to be? Or who's it not? So very few guests this year. It's not like they didn't have Jerry and Beverly, you know, Jerry and Gates on contract with another Trek show. Like, they literally could have filmed them during Picard Season 3 doing voiceover.
Well, to be fair, Gates McFadden lent her voice to very short Treks, so she was already...
And Prodigy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe she recorded something for the next episode.
I mean, I feel there should be, but also I feel like there won't be. I shouldn't expect that. And I kind of want... And I definitely want Locarno to be front and center, because that is a super unique opportunity to explore a hyper weird Trek side note logic thing, and for, you know, I say Neil Patrick Harris there. No, Robert Duncan McNeil to just play and have fun, because he's not the same guy. Even though he started the same guy, basically, and maybe Tom Paris will be in it. That would be a long, you know, a 20-year payoff to have Tom Paris. I mean, they've already got him in the studio. Have him do both. Maybe as like his pen pal as Tom Paris or something, because I feel like you need to have that to pay that off. You know,
it'd be funny if it's brought up by Nick Locarno. Like,
it'd have to be.
This Tom Paris guy, you know, he basically got promoted and taken out of prison, and I didn't get a fair shake. Like, it'd be funny if there's some kind of reference to that.
It'd have to be, yeah.
So anyway,
well, he got the nice wife. What do I get? Ugh, this cabal of evil things. Or imagine if he marries somebody and it's voiced by Rosanna B'Elanna actress. That would be beautiful, and it's like a half Romulan person. That would be lovely. That would be actually very good, because she hasn't come back ever, so that would be really, really fun. Yeah. But again, I think we have to lower expectations and just see what happens, right? Because it could be very small, it could be very big. They promised a big two-parter. This feels like a medium two-parter so far. This didn't feel big to me. Sorry, it felt normal-sized. So next week's going to be really huge to make it feel big.
Mm-hmm. It might be, though. Like
you
said, we're jumping right into the action. So.
Exactly. 22 minutes of hardcore Bird of Prey versus Romulan versus Ferengi versus Bynarv. Maybe, maybe. What do you guys think? Let us know.
Yeah, comment down below. That's what the comment section's for. Please do so. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And also make sure to subscribe to the channel and click that bell notification icon so you don't miss any of our content, either live or edited. So, do your things.
And you can support what we do here via Patreon. It's a monthly service. Any and all helps what we do here. Or join the channel. It's also monthly, and every and all what you do helps this channel. Or one-time donations at trekyards@hotmail.com is the PayPal or super chat during a live super thanks during a video. Any video. All right now. Thank you. But do jump in the lives and super chat and have your thoughts heard. Comments, questions, and, put your voice forward.
That's right. So until next time, he is Commander Cockings.
He's got a funny.
See you later.
Bye, guys.